Hello everyone, this is Story Dive, back again, this time examining, explaining, and breaking down the ending of the new series from Netflix, Dark Crytal Age of Resistance. And just a warning, this video will contain spoilers, specifically regarding the series ending, and I'm also going to speculate about the next season, so if I turn out to be right, those might be spoilers as well. As a Dark Crytal fan from a very young age, the first thing I have to say is, wow. All the people who worked on this series did an exceptional job. The visuals were stunning. I love the way they mixed the traditional puppetry with CGI. They seemed to find a perfect balance between those two elements. The writing and directing was great. The voice acting was great. I mean, who thought we'd get to hear Mark Hamill doing his Joker voice as Skektek the scientist?
There is only so much callous disrespect a Lord of the Crystal can endure!
Not to mention all the other amazing actors that added their voices to this. This series was 10 50-minute episodes, and I enjoyed every single episode. I was engaged from start to finish. They did it. Fans of the original 1982 Dark Crytal, like myself, were reacquainted with some of the characters that we knew from the original movie, for example Agra and all the Skeksis. The series also added in some great new characters and filled in a lot of details about the characters we did know, and the world of Thra itself, adding a much deeper, richer mythology to the story. For example, in the original Dark Crytal, we knew that the Gelfling had a flourishing civilization at some point, but we didn't know they had 7 clans, all with distinctly different characteristics. Meeting characters from each of these clans and getting an idea of their culture really helped to give us a real understanding of who they are as an entire species. Because of this background, it was all the more powerful when members from all of these clans united at the end to face the Skeksis. But how exactly did they defeat the Skeksis? What did Deet do during the battle at Stonewood, and what will it mean for her character in the next season? Throughout the season, we are introduced to the concept of the darkening, which is a dark, corrupting energy created by the corrupted Dark Crytal and the Skeksis' manipulation of it. At the beginning of the season, very few characters are aware of it, aside from the Skeksis' Emperor because he created it, and Agra because she knows everything. The first Gelfling to become aware of it is Deet, because she is informed of the darkening by the Sanctuary Tree.
What is the darkening?
An infectious contamination within the Crystal of Truth. And within Thra, for they are one and the same.
On her quest to discover what the darkening is and how to stop it, she meets Ryan, who is also on a quest to alert the Gelfling of the Skeksis' true nature. After he witnesses his Gelfriend, Mira, being drained by the Skeksis, he knows it's only a matter of time before the rest of the Gelfling follow. Meanwhile, the Vapra princess Brea has also noticed the corrupt and immoral behavior of the Skeksis and decides to pursue the meaning behind a symbol that she believes has the answers she needs. These 3 Gelfling are at the heart of the resistance, and eventually, using the Gelfling psychic mind meld called dream fasting that we were introduced to in the original movie, are able to convince the other Gelfling as to the true nature of the Skeksis, culminating in a battle at Stonewood. During the battle, the Gelfling are attacked by the most badass of Skeksis, the Hunter. The Archer, the Hunter's other half, who he was split from when the crystal shattered, sacrifices himself, and because the two are linked, the Hunter dies as well. Ryan is able to use the dual glaive to fend off the Skeksis, and as we find out later, the blade's power in fact comes from the crystal shard hidden within it. However, the power of the glaive is not enough to stop the darkening. The Skeksis' Emperor uses his scepter, which has been fused with the darkening, to attack the Gelfling. Deet is able to absorb the energy directed at them and project it back at the Skeksis, after which Ryan looks for Deet, only to discover that she has become infected by the darkening. In episode 8, Deet witnessed as the Sanctuary Tree was eaten alive by Nurlocks corrupted by the darkening. She asks the tree how to destroy the darkening, but the tree explains the darkening cannot be destroyed.
Like all energy, it can only be transferred. Move!
Teach me how!
Before its death, the tree gives Deet its power. But the tree cannot destroy the darkening, and neither can Deet. During the battle, when the Emperor projects the darkness at the Gelfling, Deet is able to use the tree's power to transfer it onto herself, and then project it back at the Skeksis. However, because she hosted the darkening, she is now infected with it. The minor darkening infection she had early on in the series is now a full-blown infection, which might be unstoppable. After the battle, when Deet looks at Ryan Ryan and then walks away, she does so because she knows the darkening is slowly corrupting her soul, and soon she may not be able to trust herself. She may be a danger to the other Gelfling. This is why she abandons them. In the next season of Dark Crystal, Deet's slow corruption will continue. This is alluded to in a vision that Deet has in episode 8 when the Sanctuary Tree transfers its power to her. It is a vision of future events, as during it we see the Gartham, the giant beetle-like creature who have not even been created yet. They are created during the final scene of the last episode. In the vision, Deet witnesses a Gelfling running from the Gartham while carrying a small childling. Who is this Gelfling and who is the childling? I'm not sure, but I have an idea, because the clothing that the Gelfling wears and her hair are very similar to another vision in the original movie. That is, the dream fast between Jen and Kira.
The first thing I remember is fire. It's a war, I think.
During the dream fast, Kira recalls getting hidden by her mother during a Gartham raid, and we get a small glimpse of her mother during this scene. I can't say for sure that Kira's mother is the Gelfling that Deet sees, but it looks very close. As this is a vision of future events, the childling that the Gelfling carries may in fact be Kira, who at the point of Deet's vision has yet to be born. If the childling is Kira, then who is the mother? Is it someone we know from Age of Resistance? Looking at her eyes, I can tell it's not Deet, because Deet has very distinctive large eyes, common of the Groton clan. It may, however, be Brea, but that's just a guess. Deet also witnesses a Gelfling healing the Dark Crystal by putting the missing shard back into place. This Gelfling appears to be Ryan, however, if it matches up with the timeline from the original movie, we know that Ryan does not succeed in doing this, Jen does, so it's possible the Gelfling we're seeing is in fact Jen, although admittedly it looks like Ryan. It could be foreshadowing the eventual outcome of the first movie. Juxtaposed with these images, Deet also sees herself sitting on the Skeksis throne. Her eyes and face are riddled with the darkening. It seems in this vision of future events, she is witnessing the potential of herself to become so corrupted that she joins the Skeksis, perhaps even becoming a leader among them in the war against the Gelfling. After the vision is over, Deet says, "I won't." Meaning she won't go down that path, or at least she hopes she won't. But I believe the foreshadowing is unmistakable. In the next season, Deet can potentially become a villain, which will be all the more conflicting to Ryan, who probably loves her, and the rest of the Gelfling resistance. Another interesting detail that occurred during the final episode is the death of the General, because if you've watched the original movie, you know that the General is very much alive in that.
Hey, Merlin! Lay down that scepter! Ah!
This means that if Age of Resistance is going to match the timeline of the original movie, he will have to be resurrected somehow. This is not unthinkable because a few characters were resurrected in the series already, but it is interesting because it raises the possibility that perhaps this series won't match the timeline of the original movie. Maybe this series is creating its own Dark Crystal timeline in which the Gelfling win. As Agra said, she sees many possibilities, many paths, so perhaps these paths are like alternate universes with different outcomes. At least that's my very overcomplicated theory on it. It's very possible that the General will simply be resurrected in the next season.
Me, the Emperor!
I'd love to know your thoughts on this, as well as what you think will happen to Deet in the next season. Do you think that the darkening will corrupt Deet so much that she joins the Skeksis, perhaps even ruling them and sitting on their throne? Also, who were the other Gelfling in her vision? Was it actually Jen and Kira as a baby? And who was the mother? Is she one of the characters in Age of Resistance like Brea? I would love to know your thoughts on this and simply what you thought about the series in general in the comments below. As I said at the beginning, I was very impressed with this series. I can't believe they managed to make such a good series out of one of my favorite films as a kid. This is the second time it's happened to me. The first was Cobra Kai, so I hope this happens with more of my favorite childhood movies. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more breakdowns and explanations of movies and TV, and more videos about the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. I'm sure I will do more in the future. Have a great conjunction. Until next time.